Mentioned the Lightning as we rejoin the stream here this morning. The Lightning with a big win last night, 5-3. And really, more than anything for me is, we talked about this yesterday on the show. There was no panic in the Lightning whatsoever, no panic. And you could hear it in John Cooper's voice on the off day. You could hear it in the player's voice on the off day. They've been here before, been there, done that. And you knew that, at least I knew, they were going to bounce back and play a much better game. Didn't know if they were going to win the game, but I knew we'd see that old Lightning game. How many times have we seen them bounce back before in this run? They're now 16-0 following a loss in the playoffs with a plus 35 goal differential, plus 35, 28% power play, and an 87.9% penalty kill. Those are the numbers following a loss in the playoffs the last couple of years for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Those are just off the charts. And you ask yourself why? Well, obviously a lot of experience, a lot of leadership in the room. But I think another thing that's kind of underappreciated by the Lightning, underappreciated maybe by hockey fans, is the way this team can adjust. And we'll hear from John Cooper, and he talks about the character of this team, and they take it personal when they lose, and they don't want to lose. I would suggest that most teams do that. I think the Lightning do it to a different degree, no question about it. There's something in Andrei Vasilevsky that just will not allow his team to lose 2 games. It just won't. And it's, to me, this is this is the main characteristic of this particular team. They tend to. Whatever it takes on any particular game for after they get a loss, it just seems to be that Vasi more than anybody else digs in and will just take it to another level. You could kind of tell early on in the game that he was locked in, absolutely locked in. And I think the team feeds off that as well. The other thing I think that is a little bit underrated are the adjustments that they make from a tactical sense. You saw it last night. Much easier to enter the zone and get set up on the power play. That's a big deal. The power play last night was going 3 for 7, while they were 0 for 4 last night on the power play, and now 1 for 10 in the series are the Toronto Maple Leafs with the number 1 power play. Now, will that last? No, but I think this penalty kill by the Lightning is pretty damn good. I think Nick Paul and Hagel have added a little something to it, and that's going to be a huge key in the series, especially with the amount of penalties that are being called. But the Lightning have done a really good job on shutting that down. I think the only power play that they've scored was a 5-on-3. Now, have they been dangerous? Absolutely. They've been very dangerous. The Lightning have to be very cognizant of staying out of the box. No question about it. But that said, this penalty kill is doing a hell of a job against the number 1 power play in the game. And I thought obviously Hedman was just a monster last night. His first four-point game in the playoffs, a goal and 3 assists. His initial goal to get the Bolts on the board was just, my goodness, an absolute study in patience and calm in the moment of the storm. I mean, he just waited there till Campbell made a move and then just tucked it right inside the post. What an unbelievable goal. We've got them all for you. Interestingly enough, I think this is from the Toronto broadcast, if I'm not mistaken, but it is very interesting. We got a lot of you get the Toronto broadcast on radio and TV, the Bolts broadcast on radio and TV, and then you got the national announcers as well. And it's interesting on Twitter just to hear people bitch and moan about whatever version they're watching. But here's the first goal from Hedman last night, and it was huge.
Inner slot shot to Pete One. And had a good look there. Hedman back in, knocked off his stick. Killorn the follow-up. The ball's in front. Hedman scores with just over a second left. A lucky bounce leads Hedman.
Yeah, a lucky bounce. It was. I mean, but that's part of the hockey, right? That's part of hockey. You get those lucky bounces, and there was a little scrum in front. I think it may have been Stamkos that kept it alive at the line, and Hedman had kind of floated down, watching the clock, had kind of floated down towards, what awareness right there. I mean, you're looking at the clock, it's going to expire. You don't necessarily have to worry about getting back on defense. Here's a time to just kind of float down to the front of the net, and damned if the puck didn't come right to him, and he just tucks it right in there with all just all the calmness in the world, just waited for Campbell to move and just tucked it right in. Phenomenal. And that gave the Lightning a 1-0 lead as they go to the break, and getting in front is just going to be absolutely crucial in this series. And I think it's more even just to the Lightning psyche of getting in front, because they play so much better with that lead. They just seem to have more momentum. They just seem to be more aggressive than when they're chasing it. And they make a lot of more foolish mistakes when they're chasing it as well, that typically lead to other goals. So I think it's going to be absolutely crucial in this series for them to stay out in front and have that lead. And as Cooper said in his post game, it was the second goal that was really the huge one. And this one was right at the start of the second period. And Hedman, with an incredible stretch pass from about the top of the circle in his own end to the blue line at the other end, and just hits a streaking Corey Perry right on his stick.
Perry in, scores! Corey Perry does it again against the Leafs. Horn centers.
Yeah, Corey Perry does it again against the Leafs. He's been a thorn in their side, and he loves it. If you saw his celebration right afterwards, just kind of it was kind of a little stoic at first, and just kind of stared at all the fans, and then as his teammates got over there, it got to be a little bit more of a show. But that was huge for the Lightning. That 2-0 goal right there really gave him some breathing space, and then you really kind of felt the Lightning go to work, and I thought they kind of really owned the play 5-on-5 after that, as Toronto tried to get back in it. But just from every facet of the game last night, you saw the Lightning playing with more aggression. They were winning pucks in the corner. Their forecheck was a lot more ferocious. They played a completely different game, and that's what I was expecting. I had heard some experts on some of the other shows on the radio, talking about, the Lightning are in trouble. They look slow. And compared to Toronto, they do look slower, but maybe not as slow last night. They looked a little better when you're giving the effort and you're playing with a little bit more focus and purpose. You tend to look a little faster, but they were getting to loose pucks. The sticks were out in the passing lanes. They were disrupting what Toronto was doing. I think they're paying a little bit better attention to Austin Matthews, although that could be better as well. But they were doing everything they needed to do. And that's why I was kind of had to laugh at some of the folks that were panicking and saying that Toronto is just, they've got the upper hand. They're so much better. Now, don't get me wrong. I think Toronto is a phenomenal team, and I think this is going to be a very even series. It's going 6 or 7 games. I said Lightning in 6. I think that's where they want it. Now they got the home ice. They want to close it out in 6, but they may have to go back to Toronto for a game 7. This is a very, very evenly matched series. Toronto is excellent. They're playing a very physical brand. And frankly, I kind of sensed last night that maybe it was taking them out of their game a little bit, almost like they're trying to be too physical and paying too much attention to it. I mean, the penalties that Wayne Simmons took last night were stupid penalties. They were not good penalties of aggression where you're hitting a guy. It was after the whistle type stuff. It was just bad stuff. And he paid for it dearly. And that's what the Lightning have to do. They have to answer that type of aggression and that stupid aggression, which is the Lightning did in the first game. That stupid aggression and make them pay. And that's exactly what the Lightning did with those 3 power play goals last night. Here is the third goal from the Lightning.
The pass to Brody without a stick, and the Leafs don't clear. Nikita Kucherov back in, scores!
Whoa.
A power play response by the Lightning, and they lead 3-1.
That was a wicked wrista. A wicked wrista. Man, and I love that because they're taking away that pass across ice to Stamkos. So what is the answer to that? Well, the answer is if you're going to give Kucherov time and space and clog that middle, well, he's just going to step in and snap one off. And there wasn't, maybe a 6-inch by 6-inch window, and he took it and ripped it, and that's what he can do. I mean, Kucherov's shot is one of the most lethal in the game. he can see just a small window and rip that thing off with deadly accuracy so quick. And Campbell had no chance on that one. And so this is now they got to come out on Kucherov. Now that opens up some more passing lanes, and you see how the answer works on the power play. And I know Sheldon Keefe has to be telling his players like Wayne Simmons, don't be a knucklehead. You got to, we need you to play aggressively, but taking those penalties is stupid. And, good on the refs for calling these penalties. I know I've read some people on, saying that, look, this is not playoff hockey. There's too many penalties. There's too many unnecessary penalties. Well, I think they're just calling what's out there. And if Toronto's going to take liberties, well, they're going to pay for it. And that's part of it. So I think that's the way they should call it. They should call the game like they call it in the regular season. And I think we're seeing that. And maybe Toronto needs to adjust. I don't know. I hope they don't. But right now, it seems to be the Lightning are getting the better of this. I would say that of the special teams. But again, they gave up another shorty last night. Be nice not to give up shorties. The power play looks good, but penalty kill looks good. But let's kind of stay away from giving up shorties. I believe this is the fourth goal from the Lightning now. I believe. See, it doesn't want to play now. It's balking. We'll come back to it in a second, or it'll just do it on its own probably. So Braden Point gets a power play goal as well as, another adjustment by Kucherov as he sticks it in the middle there. Great pass right through two sticks as we've become accustomed to. Puts it right on Braden Point's stick, and boom, it's in the back of the net. And then Hagel gets his first playoff goal of his career, hopefully of many more to come. I think he definitely picked up his game last night, a little bit more jump in his game. Thought Nick Paul was very physical and very good last night. He probably got 4 or 5 different times he went into the corner 1-on-1 or 2-on-1 and came out with the puck. Something Yanni Gourde used to do so well for this team. And seeing Nick Paul do that at 6'3", 227 makes a difference. So all in all, as good a performance as you can hope for, and the bounce back. And, we've seen it so many times before. I mean, again, 16-0 after losses in the playoffs in the last 3 years. Now 13 or plus 35 differential, 28% on the power play and 87.9 on the penalty kill. They've been so good. And, credit to the players and their character, the coaching staff and the adjustments that they make. And Andrei Vasilevsky just being Vasilevsky. Let's hear from Coach Cooper. We'll see if we can get that going.
Top players too. Against pure top players.
Yeah, I don't know if how far teams go when their big guys aren't going. You need them, especially at times when your back's against the wall. And you can't sit there and say our back was against the wall. It was one game, but we need it tonight, and they stepped up and started with our goaltender. He was outstanding, and then we just we fed off those 2 penalty kills at the start of the game, and it just gave us energy, and we took off from there.
A little bit about how the momentum changed when you score with 1.4 seconds left in the first period, and you haven't even scored in the series until that goal. But
it was because I think they iced it with like 15 seconds left. So you're almost thinking we could be out of it, and then we score. So it was probably maybe a little sigh of relief for our group, kind of try and take the crowd out of it a little bit. So, but for me, the big one's the second one, because it's all well and good to score one, they tie it, but we get the second one, and now you're making them chase a bit, and it was worked out for us.
John, Victor Hedman's probably not going to win the Norris Trophy this year, but
We don't know that yet,
no, I don't. But that's why I said probably.
but apparently you didn't vote for him first.
Maybe. But I mean, he seems to have a beast mode that he turns on once in a while, and it looked like tonight was one of those nights.
Well, it's going back to your best players being your best players. But he's the guy, he quarterbacks that power play back there. But as I was talking about that second goal, how about the pass he makes to Perry? And so you need that out of your guy, especially when he's playing north of 25 minutes a night. And he defended, he penalty killed, he did everything in every situation. And I don't know what do you have, like 4 points tonight.
Yeah.
But that's the catalyst for us is, the big guys step up and everybody chips in and behind them, and we've had success.
The scoring goals, we think about the power play more tonight in terms of execution.
Well, it was a heck of a lot better than it was the first night. Again, this series has really been a lot about special teams, if you think about it. The power plays for each team have scored, and there's shorthanded goals in there. There's a bunch of stuff, but it was for our guys to start feeling good about themselves out there, especially after how the first night unfolded. It was nice to see.
You knew the standard of officiating was going to be like it is tonight, just based on game one. Did you have to say anything to the guys, or?
It's not really. Like we're aware of what we're doing. I mean, we can only control ourselves. We can't control the other team. You got to play the game between the whistles. It was a little frustrating on our part. We took it too many men, and but it's playoff hockey, and guys are going to play. They're going to step up and back their team, and much like we did, or tonight they did or we did the other night. They did tonight. It's teams that want to win. It's guys that are battling hard, but you just got to be smart about it.
You mentioned this after game one and yesterday, but this team has lost 2 games in a row in the playoffs now, going into a third playoffs. I mean, how much do you have to say it, or is it at the point now where they just know?
Yeah, I always think about that. Like, what does it take to bounce back like that? It takes character. You have to have that in your room. They're aware of situations. But you got to tip your hat to those guys to lose a playoff game and then the next night go in saying we're not losing this one. And you got a really good chance of winning the Stanley Cup if you can do that, not lose 2 in a row.
When you said you dig your heels in a lot when it happens, and Victor said we take it personally if we lose. Is this team like to maybe hate to lose more, likes to win?
Well, I thought one of the players said that to me after game one, and we kind of shared it with the team. Like, that's what you have to do, and you have to make it personal, and you have to, whatever you do is create an anger inside and a want to, whether your want is to win or your want is not to lose, either one. And that was the mindset we had going into tonight.
When the best goalie in the world is playing the way he plays, and arguably the best defenseman in the world is playing the way he played tonight, how much confidence does that give
the best goalie in the world and the best defenseman are playing
everything
well?
Starts there, right?
You?
Like, I know we gave up 3 tonight, and probably a little disappointed we gave up those last 2 when we probably didn't have to. But everything starts with defending. And I thought we did a pretty good job with that. But to be able to defend, you need the horses back there. We've got the goalie, and whether it's Hetty or Chernak or Mac or Sergachev or Bogo and Footer were great. You got to make life hard on teams when they come around your net, and I thought we've done a good job with that. But again, to have pretty fortunate to have some of those players back there.
Ocean in tonight, I know Ruud is still banked up a little bit, or more so giving it a little bit for the book.
Yeah, he's got some stitches, and it's just never good to be in that situation. And we never said, like I've talked to our guys, you may be out one game, but you might be in the next. Like, it's not all right, this is what we're doing, and then we're changing our lineup if we lose. We'll change our lineup if we win. And we wanted to get Bogo in one of these 2. Tonight was the night.
You mentioned how the penalty kill maybe gave you some momentum early.
Yeah.
Given the fact that those aren't necessarily the same guys, there are new guys there, the newer guys there. I mean, how much do you like the way that's kind of come together for you guys?
Well, it's a necessity for us, and our
penalty
power
kill.
play our PK was doing fairly well during the year. But when we, I think Hagel and Paul and have added a little pop to us, given us some more depth, and with the 3 guys that we had that were consistent there, they know what they're doing back there. So it's first of all, you can't be taking the amount of penalties. Even we took 4 tonight, and to me that's still too much, especially against a power play like theirs. But when you do, you have to be able to kill them off. That's the biggest thing for me, is your PK has to be rolling. When it's holding teams to, 0 goals, it's giving yourself a chance to win.
There's John Cooper right there. As he, I think kind of put that into perspective very well, as the coach has been known to do. Really good execution on the penalty kill, obviously huge, and the power play going 3 for 7 doesn't hurt at all. I'm sure that right now, Toronto is saying to themselves they've got to be better about and being more disciplined, and to do that, if they're going to be more disciplined, then they're going to take some penalties maybe they don't want to take. So that all works for the Lightning, and now they come home and they try to put the same thing together for next game. So we have Nick Goedeke back with us here, joining the show. What's up?
You got me?
I got you. Sounded good, partner. What'd you think of that performance last night? I
think it'll play. I don't know about you, but I think it'll play. I missed a lot of what you said here in the first 20 minutes, but I would focus probably. I know a lot of Lightning fans were upset with how it finished, right? Because it was pretty unnerving, I guess, for the last 5-7 minutes of the game.
Yeah, a little bit.
But I mean, the 55 minutes leading up to it, I thought the Lightning played one of their best games of the entire season. To be honest, I never felt like Toronto was a threat in this game because Vasilevsky. It's only because I had great Vasilevsky last night. As I say that. They had chances, but I just felt like this was a old school game where Vasilevsky was going to take it over. And I haven't been able to say that much this year, but he did that last night. And when you get that kind of performance, you're going to win more often than not. And of course, you get the power play time. They got the power play time again yesterday, and they cashed in 3 times, I believe it was, on the power play.
Yep, 3 for 7.
And that kind of plays into what John Cooper said during the first game. That's a weird game to analyze. And if the Lightning are going to get 10 minutes plus on the power play on any given game, they're going to figure it out at some point. And they did.
Yeah, and it just seemed like they were so much faster. They had more energy. They were more focused. And that's one of the reasons I really was not concerned about that game 1 loss, because they were just they were zombies out there. They just wasn't the same team. They didn't have the jump. Whatever you want to say, the first game coming off the regular season, whatever it was, it wasn't the Lightning team that we've seen in the playoffs. We've also seen this ridiculous ability to bounce back after losses. And so you got to count on that until you don't, right? Until you see them, put 2 clunkers together. I'm not going to be worried about it. I'm going to feel like this team is always going to bounce back. Now, I will say this, though. There's no question that Tally's very excited. There's no question that this Lightning team is I don't think they're quite as good as last year's team. Tally, no good. Relax.
Is Obi at the door? What's going on there?
She had a little run with Obi this morning, so I thought she was going to be sleeping most of the day, but she's excited. I don't know if you saw the video last night. She was very excited.
I did.
Yes. Enough. Thank you. Golly. Yeah, but this is the team we expect to see, and I think Toronto's a fantastic team. They've actually shown me more in these first 2 games than I expected. I thought they'd be a little bit tighter, especially up there in Toronto. After a loss, they'll get criticized, they'll get ripped, blah 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 by their media. We'll see how that plays in, but I expect this series to. I said Lightning in 6. I would not be shocked if it went 7. I would not be shocked if Toronto won the series at all. I think these are 2 very evenly matched teams, and when you have 2 very evenly matched teams, I'll go with the team with experience and the better goalie, and that's the Tampa Bay Lightning.
And I was going to say, too, I know everybody's focusing on the stars from last night, but I thought the best line of the night was Colton, Paul, and Hagel. I thought that was the best line. And specifically the play of Nick Paul. Yeah. He hasn't won a Stanley Cup. In fact, they mentioned on the broadcast for him and Hagel, this is their first playoff game since juniors. Okay. Yeah. That's a long time to not play in a playoff game and to be in a playoff atmosphere. And to me, you talk about complacency maybe with some of the guys. To me, Nick Paul played that game yesterday like he's never won the Stanley Cup. Yeah. That's kind of what I took away from it. He was in on everything. And his addition to the second power play unit, usually when that second power play unit's out there, it's not really a threat, right? Yeah. And I know they didn't score on that shorty. Yeah. I know they weren't a threat or they didn't score rather on a power play on the second unit yesterday, but they kind of moved the puck around pretty good. And I thought it was because of adding Nick Paul there instead of Maroon. Maroon's a little slower. Nick Paul had some jump to him. I thought that added a nice little element there as well. So I definitely wanted to shout out that line because their play yesterday was the difference. It reminded me a little bit of our third line last year. They were physical. Ross Colton was throwing his weight around on everybody yesterday. And even in Brandon Hagel getting the goal there, which, by the way, just looked ridiculously easy, I thought, from Cooch. Ridiculously easy skating in and finding Hagel. Hopefully that gets him some confidence going because I think that's what they've missed all year is having a competent third line like last year.
Well, you always want to be productive when you're out there on the ice. And I think those guys have taken it, personally now that they're going to be difference makers in this series. And I mentioned Nick Paul in the open. I thought he was tremendous. And, the Lightning out hit Toronto last night, 39-36. It was pretty even, but it was the dumb penalties that Toronto took. And now, you got to ask yourself, obviously Sheldon keeps going to harp on that. Like, guys, we can't take bad penalties. We want to be physical. We can't take bad penalties. Is that going to take a little edge off the way they play now, not wanting to take those penalties? I think it will.
And also, too, I mean, I said in the first game, not to take anything what Toronto did, I thought 3 or 4 of the goals were from the Lightning's doing. And last night, again, all 3 goals, maybe not the second one as much, but the first goal and the third goal, the first one was the play from McDonough in the corner where he just was a little too nonchalant, and you can't do that with Austin Matthews on your back, and you gift him a freebie. Same thing with the third one. Killorn, you could argue maybe a penalty should have been called there, but with the score the way it was, I didn't think the Lightning were going to get another one, to be honest, because they were already on that power play. He makes the turnover, and then obviously the 2-on-1 coming back. I feel like the Lightning have gifted them, honestly, 6 or 7 of the goals they've scored so far. I do. Yeah. And I think the Lightning last night, even with the 3 power play goals, they did create their own chances, so I think the Lightning, like I said yesterday going into this game, if this is the best Toronto can give you, I know the Lightning can give better.
Yeah, and I think now they return to Amalie Arena where they've been almost unbeatable. I like, they got the home ice now, and they're able to close this thing out in 6 if they need to. So I think this kind of reminds me a little bit of the Florida series last year. They're gonna lose some of these games. There's no doubt about it. This is a very good Toronto team, but I still think the Lightning will win the series. Hopefully, if I push the right buttons here, we're gonna get Scott Reynolds on the in the next segment. And by the way, I'm a huge Lightning fan. So we'll catch up with Scott Reynolds when we come back. Stay with us here on the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the law offices of Christopher Palermo at PalermoPA.com. The world economy is in chaos, and mortgage rates are going to go higher in the next few months. Meanwhile, home values are up 24% in some neighborhoods of Tampa Bay. Do not miss this opportunity to refinance your home, get some much-needed cash to handle skyrocketing inflation, and fill up your car. Contact Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Even if you've recently refinanced, Scott can make the deal work because he charges no lender fees like the big boys do. He will share out to dozens of lenders and get the best terms. Let them compete for your number with any time. Scott
great to see the chance reassert themselves. I think really what it came down to, JP, is we all know that the Maple Leafs have had some struggles in the playoffs, right? That's documented. And as the two-time Stanley Cup champion, we have to keep in mind that Toronto is hosting this playoff series. That means that the Lightning are the guests in Toronto's house up there. And I think it's rude for any guest to come in and just like win game one. So I think when you look at the Lightning, they were just being gentlemanly and polite in game one. And it would be awful, I think, for them to go up there and sweep both games and then come back to Tampa and sweep the series. That would be rude. So
yes.
I think you can look at it that way and say that Tampa Bay gave them game one, right, because they don't want to be a rude guest in their house. And then said, well, that being said, we'd like to win this series in advance and get a third Stanley Cup. So we're going to beat you in your house this Sunday.
And polite, right? So you have to return the
Of
favor.
course.
Yes. I would not term that game as kind and polite though. There were some very nasty shots last night. And it almost feels like in some way that Toronto is coming out of their game a little bit and trying to be too nasty and too physical. And they kind of got a little distracted last night, and they paid for it with those 3 power play goals that the Lightning put up on them.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that they got a little overconfident in their ability to kill the Lightning's penalty power plays. And I think when you go back to game one, the turning point in that game was the 5 minutes power play that the Lightning had that the Maple Leafs just completely squelched. And I think that gave them a ton of confidence, and they said, here's the vaunted Lightning with their vaunted power play, and we just killed it, and we killed it all night. And so we can afford to be physical and rough, and we don't care if we're going to get more power plays because we're just going to kill them too. And eventually, if you keep poking the bear, you're going to get the claw and the jaws, and that's what happened. And I tell you, Victor Hedman, I thought that was an absolute dagger to start things off right before the first period. Getting that goal was kind of a big sigh of relief, and it gave the Lightning, I think that goal was so impactful because it happened literally 2 seconds before the end of the first period. If it had happened 2 seconds into the second, I think it would have been good, but less impactful, because you had the Lightning sitting there for 20 minutes in the locker room going, we can score against these guys.
Yep.
We're back to normal. And it gave the Maple Leafs 20 minutes to think about, oh crap, here come the Lightning.
Yeah, and also, the Lightning playing with the lead is going to be a huge part of this series. They just seem to play so much better with the lead. They could play any style, but when they get the lead, especially when it was 5-1, and I'm thinking, and then they come back and score a couple more, I was a little bit on the edge of my seat, but I'm like, nah, Vasi's not giving up 4 goals. That's just not happening. So yeah, we get back here. Are you going Friday or Sunday?
I'd like to. If anyone has any tickets, I'm happy to go, and I can be a chaperone. Yes. I can be a driver. So I'm
a
happy
damn good hockey analyst, I might add. Yeah, you're a pretty good hockey analyst.
I can be an analyst. I can be whatever you want me to be for Friday night or Sunday.
Drinking companion, obviously. All right, let's talk. So the Bucks now are essentially done with their offseason. Not done, obviously. Hoping to get Rob Gronkowski back. There's been some talk of Julian Edelman perhaps joining the bromance here as well. I don't know how serious that is, but it was, Gronk said it to Sports Illustrated, and I know he's been spending some time with Julian Edelman, who, like Gronk, took a year off. I'm not here to say that Julian Edelman is the key to the whole piece, but if that's going to re-energize Gronk to come back, I'm all for it. Sign him. Veteran minimum. If he makes the team, great. If he doesn't, if he's got nothing left, you've lost nothing. Where do you think this whole Gronk and Edelman thing is, or just a ruse?
Well, I think if you look at the salary cap, and the Bucks created some salary cap room by redoing Brady's deal, right? So and that's to be anticipated to bring Gronkowski back. If I'm Jason Light and Mike Greenberg, and I'm saying, okay, Gronk, if you want him here, right? We've been paying you around $9 million a year. So if you want to settle for 7 and maybe give Edelman 2 or 6 and 3, however you want to divide up your money. If you want him to come, it's going to come out of your wallet, so to speak, because you only have so much cap room. I'm not opposed to that. We talked about this before, JP. The Bucs have 3 really good wide receivers in Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and now Russell Gage. And we even talked about the premise of if the right wide receiver, if a Chris Olave, if a Treylon Burks fell to Tampa Bay at 27, it would put a receiver in the mix because you can just do the simple math without Chris Godwin, without Antonio Brown. In the playoffs last year, Brown obviously walked off. Godwin got hurt. Then they didn't even have guys like Rashad Perriman, Cyril Grayson Jr., who scored the game-winning touchdown against the Jets, had a big game against the Panthers to end the season. So they were really depleted. It was basically Mike Evans and a couple of guys who are not locked to make the team this year, in Tyler Johnson and Scotty Miller, and it wasn't enough. The Bucs didn't score 30 points. That's the magic number for success over the last 2 years. They scored 27 against the Rams. It wasn't enough. So if Julian Edelman comes in for a year, and I think Tom Brady would approve of that, I'm fine with it because for just a depth guy, I mean, Edelman, I would like to think with a year off, maybe the knee is better. I know that the knee was giving him some problems, but maybe he's serviceable. He's better than Tyler Johnson. He's better than Scotty Miller. He's better than Rashad Perriman, some of these other guys. So it does improve their depth for sure. I'm not opposed to it. I don't think it's going to happen, but I certainly wouldn't be opposed to it.
Yeah, and especially with Godwin coming back late, maybe in the year, you stick a guy in there who's got great familiarity with Brady in the slot. You know, and just the very specialized thing that he have to do. Those are little option routes that he runs on third down and second down. It's the guy made a 12-year career on it. So not too bad in the red zone either. So I think it's a plus. And honestly, at this point, I do think Gronk is a question mark. I had some people close to him tell me right when Tom retired that Gronk was done. Like, there's no way he's playing without Tom Brady. And the only reason he's thinking about coming back is because Brady's coming back. So if this is a little nudge that he needs a little bromance to bring, a little bit more, I'm good for it. I'm here for it. So whatever.
Yeah. I am too. And I think Buccaneers, you look at this tight end room, it's got Cam Brate, who's going to be 31 on July 3rd. His skill set is an obvious decline. Love Cam, but he's just not the player he was.
Yeah.
Cade Otton is a proven rookie. I think he's got some upside. I think that he can certainly be a number 2 tight end in this league. Time will tell if he has starter qualities. With some experience under his belt, we'll find that out. O'Keefe, I think, is a great blocking tight end. He's a chess piece that you can put in maybe at fullback and goal line situations.
Yeah, that's interesting.
They're going to use him on special teams. I think it's a great addition. Cody McElroy is a practice squad guy for years. Not sure if he could play. So this tight end room does need Gronkowski for sure.
No doubt.
And if that's the key to getting Gronk back, do it. Yeah. I'm all for it. I will say this, that again, I think for salary cap purposes, I think if Edelman comes, it's going to have to be for cheap. It can't be a situation where Gronk's going to get paid $9 and Edelman's going to get paid $7.
No.
That's just not going to work.
No, and I think they know that as well. Scott Reynolds joining us here from Pewter Report. So you mentioned a couple of those draft picks. I got to tell you, I was a little underwhelmed by the draft. And of course, we're not going to know anything for, especially about this draft, probably for 2 or 3 years. Because so many of these guys aren't going to play a lot. Let's just be honest about that. I thought that they had a chance to, with Jermaine Johnson dropping in the first round, I thought they had a chance to maybe do something bold and jump up and get a player of that caliber. They wouldn't have to give up much to go one. And I think the Jets gave up a fifth, essentially. They had the ability to do it. I think that would have been a huge splash play for them. So they didn't do that for whatever reason.
Well, you know what? I liked Jermaine Johnson's tape at Florida State. He did not interview well. I'll just say that. He did not interview well at all. And not just in Tampa, in other places. He rubbed teams the wrong way. And you look at this locker room, it's a great culture, right? There are no assholes in the Bucs locker room right now. There just isn't. There's not one guy that you can sit there and say, okay, he's a good player. They got to put up with them, because he gets X, Y, and Z down on the field. But boy, he's kind of an a-hole. There isn't anybody like that. This is all guys that are serious about football. They want to win. They're high character guys. They get along extremely well. and that's huge when it comes to winning.
Yeah,
is
I agree.
having everybody rowing in the same direction, and the Bucs have that now. They had it in 2020, with the exception of Antonio Brown, who was that one guy. Like I said,
Right, exactly.
You look at it and say he does X, Y, and Z in the field. We're going to put up with him. But now the Brown's gone. It's everybody is following the same orders. They're going in the same direction, and that's rare. And you don't want to rock the boat and bring in somebody, especially somebody who's an unproven rookie,
right,
and put him into that culture and have it possibly rock the boat. So I think that's the big reason why they didn't want that. They even did their due diligence and talked to the Georgia coaches, because remember, he was at Georgia. He couldn't get on the field because you had guys like Trayvon Walker and Anderson and all those players. And the Georgia coaches were happy to see him transfer. He just didn't fit their culture either. And went to Florida State, again, had a great productive year.
Yep.
I like the tape.
Yeah.
But you're not just drafting the player, you're drafting the person.
No, that's interesting. I hadn't heard anything about that from the guys at Florida State.
I didn't either until after the draft. But
that's a great reason not to. Absolutely. And I look at Goedeke, and obviously Light has had great success with small school offensive linemen, but his pedigree to me is a little bit concerning as a second round pick. No offers out of high school, 220-pound tight end, goes to Central Michigan, gains a bunch of weight. Now, it looks good on tape, looks good at the Senior Bowl. I just, we'll see.
Well,
I'll
tell you what, you know what? I have blind faith.
Yes.
In one position with Jason Light, and that's
absolutely
offensive line.
Agreed.
Right. I mean, the Tristan Wirfs thing, I mean, that's kind of a no-brainer. I'm not going to give him too much credit for that because he was a first-round caliber player. But then you start with Donovan Smith and Ali Marpet back in 2015, finding Alex Kappa and making him a credible, serviceable guard who got better every year and then just cashed in on a big deal. Finding a player like Ryan Jensen, who was a one-year starter at Baltimore, and taking a risk on him, making him the highest-paid center at free agency. And then he develops into a Pro Bowl caliber player that helps the Bucs win the Super Bowl. I'm telling you, man, this guy is magic when it comes to the offensive line. He has struggled other positions, and well documented at running back, but offensive line, I mean, I have blind faith in Jason Light. This guy just knows how to find good linemen in free agency. You go back to Evan Dietrich Smith, who was one of his first signings. Then he picked up Joe Hawley off the street when Dietrich Smith went down. I'm talking back in the Lovie Smith era.
Mm-hmm.
He has found some really good offensive linemen over the years. Free agency in the draft, he has a miss too. Anthony Collins in 2014 is a miss, but nobody's perfect. But this guy, Jason Light, when it comes to offensive line, I trust him implicitly because he has a track record that says he can spot a good offensive lineman. And he played offensive line in college, so he knows what to look for, what those traits need to be.
Yep, I am. And Rachaad White from Arizona State, the running back, really good in the pass game. I think they really looked at the specialization that this guy brings in terms of being able to pass block, a very natural, fluid catcher of the football. It seems that's going to be his role. Yeah,
and I think that where you're going to see the competition in training camp is we know Leonard Fournette's going to be RB1, right? And he's capable of playing on all three downs. But the Bucs got a little glimpse of what life was like without Leonard Fournette at the end of the season. They didn't like what they saw. Yeah, Keyshawn Vaughn had a nice touchdown run. He duped one guy against Carolina. It was well blocked, and he had a 50-yard touchdown run, 55, whatever it was. But you take away that run, and sometimes you can manipulate the stats and look at both sides of the coin. But if you do take away that run, there weren't a lot of other chunk runs that Vaughn was able to rip off. And I think the average without that run was like 3.1, which is kind of pedestrian. If it was closer to 4, I'd feel better. But the fact that he needed that big, long touchdown run against Carolina to even get to where he finished at with his yards per carry, it's a little concerning. So I think that you're going to see Rachaad White, who's a better pass catcher than Keyshawn Vaughn, really battle with Vaughn, who's in his third year now in Tampa Bay, for that number 2 running back spot that Rojo occupied last year.
Right.
And then he's also going to compete for some touches, some playing time on third down with Giovanni Bernard, because Bernard is that guy that when Fournette needs a blow on the sidelines on third down, he will come in. So I think Rachaad White has a chance to really become kind of like a co-third down, or I should say a co-3 down back. I think that he's capable with his running ability. He averaged 5.5 yards per carry, rushed for 1,000 yards on the dot, scored 15 touchdowns on the ground out there at Arizona State. He's got a kind of a weird, patient running style that resembles Le'Veon Bell, Marcus Allen. And I think he's going to end up getting the number 2 job eventually. If it's not right out of the gate, I think he will as the season goes on. And I think he'll push Keyshawn Vaughn down the depth chart. And we might even see him on third down. The key will be pass protection. The team right now obviously trusts Giovanni Bernard more as a pass protector. But if that's something White can improve on and show that he can do in training camp in the preseason, I think that whenever Leonard Fournette's not in the game, you might see Rachaad White on the field.
Scott Reynolds joining us here from Pewter Report. Some of the other draft picks, and we all thought that they might go safety early on with Lewis Seen, who was on the board when they traded down.
Almost did.
I think they were probably close to pulling the trigger on that deal. I think probably because they brought in Keanu Neal and Logan Ryan, it wasn't as big a priority. And you wait till the 5th round to get a defensive back in Zion McCollum.
I like this kid.
Yeah,
I like him.
Tell me a little bit about him. Sam Houston State.
Yeah, he's got plenty of size, 6'2". He's an inch taller than Jamel Dean and Carlton Davis. That's the type of cornerback they like. And then you throw in the 4.33 speed. That's on par with Jamel Dean.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, man, this guy can fly. He'll step to be a gunner right away in special teams and make an impact there. The production on the ball is what stands out. He played 5 years at Sam Houston State for the Bearcats, getting that COVID year, and 54 pass breakups, 13 interceptions, and it wasn't like he had this one crazy year where he had like 7. No, he had 3 interceptions in each of his 4 out of 5 seasons, and then the one season he didn't have 3, he had 1. So this kid is a consistent playmaker, getting his hands on the ball, and he's got a great demeanor. He is willing to do anything and everything. He can play some safety in a pinch. They're going to start him at outside corner. I don't know if he's going to be an inside corner because typically you got to be around 5'11", 6 foot to be able to deal with the little mighty guys that come in the slot. Although teams now are going towards putting their bigger wide receivers in the slot to create matchups, because that's typically where that cornerback comes off the bench. He'll be your slot corner. So there's value. What teams have seen and shown now over the last couple of years is putting a guy like Mike Evans in the slot against the number 3 corner, essentially, and having that talent mismatch. So it'd be interesting to see with his size and agility. He's one of the most athletic cornerback prospects to come out in years, if he can handle that. Usually the long-legged cornerbacks can struggle with change of direction and flipping their hips over so quickly. So if he can cover some small wide receivers, I'm sure in camp he's going to go against the likes of Jalen Darden, and if he can cover him and kind of that quick, small-bodied guy in the slot, then maybe he has even more versatility that can help the Buccaneers and maybe challenge Sean Murphy-Bunting down the road.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how quickly he can get on the field. And, guys coming from those smaller schools, typically, especially with those kind of tools, I'm sure the coaching staff feels like they get, this kid in a professional coaching environment, all the good stuff. He can be a hell of a player because those numbers are off the charts. And you get a punter.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to, opinion with, I love the dude, but whatever issues he was dealing with was not good in the second half of last year.
Yep.
You save a little money here. This kid looks like he can help this team immediately.
Yeah, well, that's the value for as many fans out there that threw up or at least got nauseous over drafting a punter in the fourth round. The reality of it is you're drafting a starter. Yeah. You're getting a starter, and not just as a punter, but you're getting a holder. That's one less responsibility that your backup quarterback has to have. Mm-hmm. You're getting a kickoff guy. That's a huge philosophy shift that we've seen over the Buccaneers the last couple of years. Is they want to have their punter be able to do kickoffs, because kicking for placements, that's field goals and extra points, is a different stroke than it is kicking deep. And where you see a lot of those groin injuries and hernia injuries is from field goal kickers kicking off, because you got to use so much more torque to push the ball, 30 more yards on kickoffs than you do on field goal attempts. It's a different swing. And what that does is that helps your field goal kicker just concentrate on getting through the uprights.
Yeah.
So this is a kid that can do all three things. He's also a hell of an athlete. That's one thing that really excited the Buccaneers. This guy went out at the combine and he ran his 40. Usually most kickers and punters just say, screw it. You're here to see me kick or punt, and that's all. This kid went out there and competed as an athlete. He ran a 4.56. And special teams coordinator Keith Armstrong even mentioned, hey, this kid can run. This kid can throw.
Yeah.
And that opens up your playbook a little bit to some fakes. And that's something that Tampa Bay's special teams have been really bland, haven't done much in the return game, haven't done anything on, to generate first downs or touchdowns in terms of fake punts and fake field goals. But now you've got an athlete that can do that. And they only like 2 punters in this draft. They like Stout, the Penn State kid who went just a couple picks before Carmada did. And so when that happened, they went ahead and said, we're going to get Carmada and we're going to get the punter we like. They only had 2 draftable grades on punters this year, and they got their other one.
I left about reading about him is he has the ability to directionally kick. Remember the old coffin corners? Remember that? Yeah. I'm like, why do punters not do this anymore? Yeah. I mean, are you kidding me? Yeah. And this kid has got that ability. So that'll be fun to watch.
He's punted in some big games.
Yes,
I mean, he played Alabama twice last year, SEC championship game, and then the national championship game. He has been used to the bright lights of this, and it hasn't been too big for him, right? He's done kickoffs at the college level in big games. He's punted directionally in big games. So you're getting a national champion here in this Georgia Bulldog.
Hey, what did you glean from the assistant coaches meetings that you had the other day? They met with the media. Any good nuggets come out of there?
Yeah, I don't think they're bringing back Ndamukong Suh, man. I'm telling you, it looks like Logan Hall is the guy, and I think they're going to turn the page. I think they saw some things on film, especially late in the season, right, where Ndamukong Suh, you remember the Jets game, right, and the Falcons game late in the season, teams were able to run laterally on the Buccaneers. Yeah. And part of that is because the defensive tackles, and Suh is one of those guys, just did not have the lateral movement and quickness and speed to maintain that gap, right? Because when you're charged with filling a gap, well, when you get a horizontal zone team, right, that's running laterally, and then having that running back pick a hole, that hole moves. You got to move with it. Your gap moves, and you got to, you got to go laterally, and you got to continue to plug that. And I think that's an area where they said we got to get younger. We have to get faster and more athletic up front. I mean, we got these old guys that when the play is coming right at him, and Ndamukong Suh is fantastic. Steve McClendon, a 36-year-old backup, he can get the job done. But teams figured out late in the season how to attack the Bucs' flanks and get to the edge, and that's something that the Buccaneers addressed in the second round with Logan Hall. The other thing is, I think that Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, this new outside linebackers coach, Bob Sanders, I mean, he's not new, he's old. He's been coaching for longer than I've been alive, just about. And I really like what he had to say. He wants to, Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, JTS, is a nice, mild-mannered kid, and that's fantastic. John Lynch was a Hall of Famer, one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. But John Lynch had a switch that flipped when he got on the field. And I think that's what has to happen with Joe Tryon-Shoyinka is Bob Sanders wants him to find that switch and flip it and go to being a dominant, badass player out there. The other thing too is Vita Vea and Shaq Barrett. Those are guys that aren't really alpha personalities. JPP, Jason Pierre-Paul, was an alpha for sure. Even though he didn't have a C on his chest, he led the defensive front. Suh was kind of like another guy that was not a rah-rah guy like JPP was from an energy standpoint, but he certainly was the leader in the defensive tackle room. So you've got some guys that, from a personality standpoint, in Shaq Barrett and Vita Vea, need to step up in terms of being vocal leaders this year. Without JPP and Suh back, those guys have to step up. They're both Pro Bowlers. They both make over $17 million a year.
Yep.
So, the onus is on them to do that. And I think these coaches really have to kind of push and prod these guys to become more vocal and step up, because it's not in their nature. But you know what? Sometimes you have to step up when you're getting paid that much money and you're the Pro Bowler. You got it. And even Rondé Barber. I mean, you and I both know Rondé.
Yeah.
He did not like being the general. He would rather be, Hardy Nickerson's lieutenant, Derek Brooks' lieutenant, John Lynch's lieutenant. He'd rather be the hype man, the rah-rah guy that said, yeah, what John said. Yeah, what Hardy said.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, what DB said. But yet he was the last man standing in Tampa.
He became a great leader.
He had to become the vocal leader.
Yeah, and he did that. Great stuff as always, Scotty. Thank you so much for your time. Tell everybody how they can get all the great content over at Pewter Report and what you guys are doing now that the draft is over.
Always a pleasure chatting with you, JP. Yes, the off season rolls on. We got rookie minicamp coming up next week. We've got plenty of content this week from the defensive coaches. The offensive coaches speak next Tuesday at 10:30, so we're going to be covering that. Then we have OTAs coming up following that, and then the minicamp right around the corner in June. So plenty of content for the Buccaneers fans out there on PewterReport.com. Follow us on social media, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Pewter Report. And also, we've got 4 days a week at 4 o'clock Eastern, our YouTube channel, Pewter Report TV. We do the Pewter Report podcast every day for about an hour from 4 to 5. So get your Bucks fix with us, the Pewter Report TV, on our YouTube channel.
Super fun show. We had Casey on yesterday. You guys always do a great job, so highly recommend.
We're going to have you on the Pewter Report podcast too.
Can't wait,
my friend. We're going to be on.
I've been waiting for an invitation.
We're going to get you on. We're going to be talking Bucks football.
Beautiful. All right, awesome. Okay, appreciate it, Scotty. We'll chat then, and enjoy
Sounds
the games this weekend. Go Bolts.
Go Bolts.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we will take a break. When we come back, Bobby the Chief Taylor is going to join us, and we will talk some more Lightning hockey as we get set for Game 3 coming up Friday night. Man, it is going to be a scene at Amalie. By the way, they're going to open up Thunder Alley as well. Tickets are available, so get on it. The Bobby the Chief Taylor coming up next. Stay with us. The world economy is in chaos, and mortgage rates are going to go higher in the next few months. Meanwhile, home values are up 24% in some neighborhoods of Tampa Bay. Do not miss this opportunity to refinance your home, get some much-needed cash to handle skyrocketing inflation, and fill up your car. Contact Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Even if you've recently refinanced, Scott can make the deal work because he charges no lender fees like the big boys do. He will also shop your loan around to dozens of lenders and get the best rates and terms. Let them compete for your business. The big banks charge huge lending fees. Customer service is simply a phone number with endless wait times. Scott is local and will personally take your call. Here's his cell phone number. Tell him JP
Oh, no question. Their urgency and energy level was a lot higher. They kind of set back a little bit in the third to allow those 2 goals, but I thought they just played really well. They really kept the odd man rushes and the breakouts for Toronto down to a minimum. That was what was really hurting them. Toronto was playing so much faster the first game. The Lightning got back to their speed game as well to that last night.
Yeah, it looked like the Lightning were so slow in that first game, but I guess that was just more. It just didn't seem to have their legs or what have you. But I keep saying it, and it's kind of cliche, but they just seem to flip that switch to another gear when they have to, and that's we've seen it now 16 times in the past couple of years now in the playoffs. 16-0 after a loss, a plus 35 goal differential. I mean, have you ever seen a team with this kind of ability to bounce back like this?
No, not really. I mean, that is one of the things when you get, when you're watching the game when they're struggling and you're getting frustrated, at least I am.
Yes.
You got to do this. You got to get this back. And then the very next day is exactly what they do. And it's, they've done it now for 3 years, and it's pretty impressive. Hopefully they can keep doing it, but I'd like to see them do it a little easier by doing it in the first game as well.
What do you attribute that to? Vasilevsky just being so stubborn when he loses a game, or is it the coaching staff making some needed adjustments? It certainly looked like they were able to get the puck in on their power play last night a lot easier than they were in game 1. Did they make some adjustments there as far as their entry?
Yeah, they sometimes they chipped it, a lot of small chips, and they were coming in on the opposite side too. They'd come in, they'd have Point come in on his left side rather than the right side, and then for me, it opens up the ice for him better the other way. But the thing that's really good about it is that the players themselves can make the quick adjustments. The coaches will point out things, and we'll try this and try that. They just have to tweak it a little bit. But most of the time, it's mainly how hard they want to play or how fast they want to play type of thing. Sometimes they kind of get in that mode where, we got this. We can fall behind and still come back, and we can do this and still come back. Well, it's a lot harder during a game to do that, but they'll get their heads together and come back the next game, like we've seen.
Hey, Chief, I thought Toronto took some really bad penalties. Wayne Simmons especially took a couple of bad penalties. I mean, there's good penalties of aggression, right? And then there's bad penalties just after the play stuff that just doesn't need to be done. But the Lightning made him pay for it. How does that now work going forward? Does Toronto have to be a little bit more careful how they play?
Yes, way more. I mean, if this power play is working, see, the thing they thought they could do, obviously, was the fact that when that first game and we had a 5-minute power play, got one shot. We didn't really play very well. And, they sometimes it gets in the back of your mind, oh, wow, we got this power play numbered. And it doesn't, because they switched it around a little bit. They were really, really cheating on Stamkos, in the power play last game, and everybody now it took over. We talked about this before, you and I, JP. Sometimes, Cooch loves to pass, and he's a great passer, but he's got to shoot it. So does Victor, because that takes away the ability for that defensive four to cheat on one guy or two guys, and I thought they did a really good job of that last night.
And one of the adjustments was Kucherov just taking advantage of the time and space, moving closer. And that wrist shot of his is just deadly. I mean, he probably had about a 6-inch square opening that he saw, and he just flicks it right where he wants to put it. That when you got that kind of talent, you got to shoot the puck, right?
Oh, no question. That's what surprised me when he had that breakaway where he tried to deke and go through the pads like he did in the All-Star game, And but when you take a look at the goalie, and Campbell's not a real tall goalie, so when he crouches, he gives you a little bit more room in the top corners, and most goalies are really good down low because of that style they play, the butterfly style. So I thought for sure Cooch would give it to the top shelf there, but he didn't. And but when he had the next chance, he did make sure he got it up top.
My co-host here, Nikki Geddes, thought that line of Nick Paul and Hagel last night was just tremendous. What are your thoughts on how they played last night?
You know what? I really love the energy that Hagel brings. Mm-hmm. And I'm so happy to see him get that goal because he really, really adds an extra element of speed to the lineup. Paul is so strong and big. You know, I mean, guys, if you really notice him, Toronto tries to run almost everybody on our team, except they don't go after Paul because he's too doggone big. It's like running into a concrete brick. And but I'd like to see him do a little bit more shooting. You know, I mean, sometimes he can get caught up in that fancy play like we've seen the Lightning do a number of times. I mean, he's got skill, and everybody's surprised at it, and he's showing it. But sometimes, you know, you got to go back to that simple play and just shoot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no doubt. Bobby the Chief Taylor joining us here. And Braden Point also getting a power play goal. That was another great pass by Kucherov, and something different than the Stamkos in his office.
Yeah, you know, that's the one thing that's kind of puzzled me. You know, they're really going after Kuch and Stammer and Point, and yet we've kind of left Marmer and Matthews all alone. I don't understand that. I would like to see them get in their face a little bit.
Yeah, I think we need to send somebody over there with a greeting card on Friday night. And Bogosian, I thought, played pretty well last night as well. Do you think he'll get more time, more minutes?
Well, in this series for sure, because he played there last year, so he knows a lot of their tendencies.
Yeah,
I would think that he'd be in there a lot more. I think because you're going to need some heavy bodies as well. And that's going to make it a lot tougher for Toronto to get through into the slot area if you got the heavy bodies there.
And Chief, the defensemen have been really, really good. I thought McDonough was better last night, but Victor Hedman, I mean, 4 points. What more can you say about him? Tally's very excited about it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the one thing that we got to do, though, is make sure, like, we sometimes get really too quick where we have all four of those, one defenseman, all three forwards are up in that offensive zone. That's what created a lot of those shorthanded man rushes in the first game. You have to pay attention for a forward anyway. If a defense is going down there deep, you have to drop back a little ways anyway. You can't stay down deep as well because he's going to be down there. You have to come back and kind of substitute for him up there. You know, and we didn't do a good job of that the first game. I thought we did a lot better job of it last night.
Well, Chief, appreciate your time as always, my friend. Great stuff. Look forward to seeing you on Friday. Hope you feel better, get better, get some rest there, my friend.
I sure will, JP.
All right, thanks. The great Bobby, the Chief Taylor, right there. Listen, this team, you want to write them off, and I know a lot of people have, maybe just because they're tired of the Lightning. Nope, they're not going. They're not going anywhere. They're not effing leaving. Not yet. It's going to be one hell of a hard task to get through the East. I've been watching a lot of hockey this week, and man, it's just this Eastern Conference is just unbelievable. Louis Domingue eating his spicy pork and broccoli between periods, and then coming out and doing his thing. Good stuff. We got Nikki back here. What's up, partner? You're back for the rest of the show.
Yeah, I was going to say, did you see any of the Boston and Carolina last night? If you think our series is physical, they've taken that one to a whole nother level. Those teams do not like each other. They end the whole game with like a whole line brawl at the end there. And did you see the hit that Svechnikov put on Hampus early?
Oh, wow.
I mean, that's a game. See, that's the thing, though. We all think it's scary, and everybody had a freak out reaction to it. It was a clean hit. It was a clean hit. You've always been taught in hockey, you don't put your head down when you're skating with the puck. And Hampus Lindholm's looking ready to skate. He's got his laces untied or something. And he leveled him, and he hit him right in the chest. But then, it started a whole line brawl, and Svechnikov gets a penalty for it because that's what happens in hockey now. But I love the physicality that's added to the playoffs. I really do.
There was a shot on Ranta, I think it was by Pasternak early on in the game.
Yeah, I took out Ranta, and they had to put in the rookie. It starts with it's one of those crazy K names, Clutcher. Yeah, I almost said Clutcherov. It's something like that. And then later in the game, he got into it with Marchand, and they both slashed each other like 3 times and got dueling slashing penalties. I mean, that's what playoff hockey is. And we knew it's not going to be easy to get through the East this year. If you get through it this year, you damn well deserve it.
Yeah, Carolina looks really, really good. That's why, I mean, when people were talking about, I don't care whether we play Carolina or Toronto in the first, I'm like, no, I don't want any part of Carolina just yet. Because I think I've said this all year, and you know this. I think the Lightning's best hockey is ahead of them. I still do. I think Nick Paul, we saw that last night. Hagel, they're starting to play better. I think our core can play better, more consistently. I think Vasilevsky can be better. I think Sergachev can be way better. I just think they're going to be better as they move through these playoffs. So better to start with a team like Toronto and then work your way up. Because I saw my man Goedeke Black was back in Sunrise. Did you see that? They had got him some.
I did. I tagged you into that. I was like, I figured you'd get a kick out of it.
What the hell are they doing? I can't believe they brought him back. Well, that's so on brand for the stinking Panthers, right? Yeah, but they didn't let his girlfriend come with him this time so they could dance by the glass.
There's probably a list. There's probably like a list that's, probably maybe this long, and it's probably just her name on it right now. She's on it. And Kodak's, for whatever reason.
Why are we blaming her?
Huh?
Why are we blaming her?
I mean, clearly the Panthers are blaming her. They're blaming her. Meanwhile, family-friendly Lightning.
That's right.
We're doing advertisements for our boy Vo, who I believe is going to be in the building tomorrow. So
he's got something special for you. He's got a new song, got something special for you. But if we play Florida, Goedeke Black will not be welcome in the arena. Sorry, pal. We're not all about that. All right, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll get into the Rays a little bit. Big win for them last night. Another comeback win for this team. The scrappy Rays returning to their scrappy ways. So Nick and I will chop it up on the Rays when we come back. Stay with us. Italiano Insurance has been serving and working in our community for over 60 years, and it's not just about insuring all the pieces of your life. Italiano is as much a part of Tampa Bay as the Cuban sandwich, Gasparilla, and our Bucks, Lightning, and Rays. They're also active supporters of great charities like the Humane Society, Metropolitan Ministries, and local pediatric cancer centers. Hey, we all need insurance, so do business with a local company with a commitment to our community. Don't call some 1-800 number. Call Italiano and be greeted by one of your neighbors. That's 813-877-7799 or ItalianoInsurance.com. Named the Small Business of the Year by the Tampa Chamber. 813-877-7799. Cryptocurrency is all the rage today. The market cap for the industry is now over $1 trillion. And you read about people making millions of dollars, right? You want to get in, but have no idea what to do? Or maybe you dabbled a bit and you want to unlock the real money-making opportunities and don't know how to do it. There are over 10,000 tokens and thousands of decentralized finance exchanges to navigate. So what do? You go to DeFiLava.com. The folks at DeFiLava.com are in Tampa Bay, and they work with you directly to set up custom accounts, answer all your questions, and provide market analysis. Decentralized finance and cryptocurrencies are here to stay and will change the financial markets as we know them. Get in the game. Get with the experts at DeFiLava.com and tell them JP sent you, and get their free 2022 crypto market forecast today at DeFiLava.com. Don't get left behind, folks. Make some money at DeFiLava.com. The world economy is in chaos, and mortgage rates are going to go higher in the next few months. Meanwhile, home values are up 24% in some neighborhoods of Tampa Bay. Do not miss this opportunity to refinance your home, get some much-needed cash to handle skyrocketing inflation, and fill up your car. Contact Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Even if you've recently refinanced, Scott can make the deal work because he charges no lender fees like the big boys do. He will also shop your loan around to dozens of lenders and get the best rates and terms. Let them compete for your business. The big banks charge huge lending fees. Customer service is simply a phone number with endless wait times. Scott is local and will personally take your call. Here's his cell phone number. Tell him JP said you could call. 813-294-7595. Scott's done over 3,000 loans, including many coaches and athletes. He will answer your calls and concerns and give you workable strategies to be smart with your money. Reduce your payments. It's not just what you make, it's what you keep. 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. The health professionals at Bay Area Modern Medical Center want you to know it's time to commit to a new healthy lifestyle. It's literally a matter of life and death. 42% of Americans are considered obese, and being obese made you 3 times more likely to be hospitalized by COVID. So getting in shape is not just about looking better, it's about living much longer. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, they take a very different approach to primary care. It's personalized, preventative medicine. Christopher Lugo and his experienced staff are proactive in looking at your issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle, building up your immune system, not destroying it with poor nutrition and bad habits. So call for an appointment, maybe change your primary care, and get on a journey back to full health and a happy life. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Have you purchased a home in the last 10 years and the stucco is starting to come loose from the upstairs portion? Well, that can cause some serious damage that you can't see until it's too late. Is it becoming an eyesore? Have you contacted the builder and just can't get any relief? That's very common here in Florida. So call the law offices of Christopher Palermo. They can help you. Call 813-221-5636. That's 813-221-5636. He's recovered millions for his clients. The law offices of Christopher Palermo at PalermoPA.com.
Pure Sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back. JP Peterson Show brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center. If you are looking for a new primary care physician, Christopher Lugo and his medical team will take care of you. They give you a personalized plan for your diet and exercise. Christopher works with some of our top pilots in the military. He himself just appointed to a prestigious military medical position, which is classified. But as you go see him, he will use all of those talents and knowledge and modern techniques to help you get you where you need to be, whether if you're in training for some great physical activities, triathlons, and the elite athlete level. They certainly have programs and experience with that. If you're just trying to get back in shape, great weight loss programs with the B12 injections and a great diet plan for you. And everything is personalized at Bay Area Modern Medical Center. So do something different with your health, especially with what's happened with COVID. It's not just a matter of looking good now. It's a matter of life and death, being in good shape and getting your immune system in order. So go to BAMMC.com, and get more information. All right, Nick Geddes back with me here from Outkick.com. Boy, the Rays just keep on winning. A sweep of the A's, and they do it in dramatic fashion. Those are probably 3 games that could have gone, at least the last 2, certainly the other way. But the Rays just come back and find a way to win. Manuel Margot with a big 2-run single. Once again, Brett Phillips involved in all this. Pretty good stuff.
Yeah, first series sweep for the Rays at the Coliseum in franchise history.
How about that?
Talk about a place of horrors. I've seen it from Dallas Braden on Mother's Day, 12 years ago, 13 years ago. From just so many bad memories of playing in that stadium. And I don't know, maybe the Rays, they fit at home because, they played in front of 2,000 people. I don't know. I don't know if that's a shot at people right now, but hey, whatever works, right? You get over that fear and you go to play a pretty good Seattle team that you were able to get over that hump as well last time you played them. But, Manny Margot, man, when they gave him that contract in the offseason, me and you were like, okay, good, solid player. Yeah, we were like, solid player, but of all the players the Rays are going to choose to pay, I wasn't planning on it being Manny Margot. Yeah. But coming up in that situation, I wasn't expecting the Rays to get a hit there because the Rays had plenty of opportunities throughout the game. I think Wander had one the inning prior to get runs in. They couldn't do it. But Manuel Margot, good piece of hitting, letting it travel in and just kind of poking it out to right field. That's what Manny Margot does. And seriously, he's a linchpin to this team and been one of the more consistent hitters this year with his average over 300 now. So, and the bullpen, of course. Again, the bullpen, everybody, top to bottom.
Kluber was great too. Kluber goes 6 innings, 64 pitches. I know they don't want third time through the order. I get it, but my God, that guy was as efficient as, and your bullpen has been a little taxed. Why not take him a little bit further? But God, we treat these guys with kid gloves, man. It's like 64 pitches. You can't get to 85 pitches.
I think if this was a if this was 2005 or, one of those years like that, Corey Kluber would have done a complete game shutout. He would have, and he might have thrown a Maddox and been under 100 pitches.
Yeah, I agree.
He was locked in.
He was locked in. He's getting an early contact. They were trying to be aggressive on him. I mean, that thing was tailor-made for, just like you said, a complete game, 92 pitch deal. But hey, Fire Eisen came in, looked great. Kittredge is gosh, he's untouchable. Yeah, but just I worry about why tax your bullpen when maybe you don't have to.
There's part of that, but then again, Corey Kluber is older now, right, and has had a lot of injuries. So you want to play the safe game with him right now. You don't want to get him taxed out here in April. So, and Kevin Cash probably has scars from letting McClanahan try to go through the third time of the order. So you probably won't see that much. It didn't work.
Yeah, and he's dominating.
Yeah. And by the way, we mentioned, I think it was yesterday, or the day before, have we been too hard on the Rays? And they sit 15-10, and I feel like there's still another gear to get to, but they're scrapping. And I went here and looked. The Rays offense, which we keep talking about, is actually more often than not in every category is in the top 10. The Rays offense in the key categories. What if I told you the Rays are 6th in baseball in batting average right now? Would you believe me?
No. Shocking development.
What if I told you, and the little things matter here, the Rays were 2nd in the league in stolen bases?
2nd in the league in stolen bases? Boy, you talk about a lost art. Holy
What
crap.
if I told you they're in the top 10 in OPS, they're in the top 10 in slugging, they're in the top 10 in hits, every single metric offensively, 3rd in doubles, every single metric offensively, the Rays are in the top 10. How about that?
Shocking. That is a shocking development. I wonder, I'm thinking of the teams that they played. Who have they played this year? They played Oakland twice, and they're well under 500.
Baltimore,
the Cubs, White
Oakland,
Sox,
Chicago,
yeah,
Boston, Seattle, Minnesota.
Yeah, not a murderer's row, but not an easy schedule either. Look, they're winning games. All those numbers you just told me, I'm completely shocked by that, because we have just. It seems like every night we're just like last night. You're like, oh my God. I mean, are they ever going to score a run? I mean, Matos was mowing them down, but God, when you tell me those numbers, I would never have thought that. No way.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I think that's a testament right there that the Rays are doing what they do, right? They're finding ways to win. They're in the hunt early. I told you the Rays were probably I picked them to win the division. Okay, I said regardless of it, I still think they can win the division. I still think they're going to be in the playoffs. We'll see what happens then. But hey, you got to start somewhere here in April and May. And given what I've seen, this is a lot better than what it started last year for the Rays. It's a lot better than what it was last year. And they're doing it without Shane Baz in the rotation. So right now we have I think I like the idea of doing the 4 and then doing the opener with Yarbrough / Patino whenever he comes back right now. And then I think your rotation is solidified.
Yeah, and I mean, the good news is McClanahan's been, even though he doesn't have the numbers, he's been really, really good. Rasmussen has been lights out the last couple outings. Kluber looks really, really good. I mean, if Yarbs goes out there without an opener again, there needs to be an investigation. It really does. I mean, of all teams to not put an opener out there for this guy, I mean, it boggles the mind. So, all right. So they move on to Anaheim, right?
Seattle.
The Rays this week. Seattle. That's right. Seattle. That's right. And this is look. We'll see. We'll see where this goes right now. I think as the offense gets going a little bit more, because I still think there's a lot left in the tank for the offense. I mean, a ton more for the offense, and I think at this point, maybe even a move down the road to get a big bat at the deadline. I don't think there's any question about that. They got to do it, even though they're respectable offensive numbers right now.
Yeah, and also too, Isak Paredes, who again maybe we've been a little bit hard on because we didn't want to see Meadows go exactly for him, but came across this stat too. He's put 9 balls in play so far, and I know a lot of people that love analytics love this number, and I did. In all fairness, I did bring it up against Joey Gallo when he was struggling early on. But if you've noticed, Isaac Freitas hits the ball hard. And I think every ball he's put in play so far this year for the Rays is gone 95 miles an hour plus. So that tells you right there he's getting the barrel on the ball. And analytics will tell you, and eventually he'll start finding more open field. And even yesterday, he got 2 hits yesterday, I believe. So I know that we were poo-poo on Austin Meadows not being here, and I guess we got to forget about it and move on because we got Isaac Freitas, but he's here. And if anything, it looks like he hits the ball hard, and the Rays need people who can hit the ball hard. You got to say that.
Sure. That's for damn sure. And you always, and like you mentioned last year, they kind of had a scruffy start. And it's one of the things the Rays do from their analytics department and just their upper management is they figure it out. They figure out what they got, what the best pieces are, how to use them the best way, and they get a lot more out of it. So, all right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll come back on the other side, and we'll they take a very different approach to primary care. It's personalized preventative medicine. Christopher Lugo and his experienced staff are proactive in looking at your issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle, building up your immune system, not destroying it with poor nutrition and bad habits. So call for an appointment, maybe change your primary care and get on a journey back to full health and a happy life. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Have you purchased a home in the last 10 years and the stucco is starting to come loose from the upstairs portion? Well, that can cause some serious damage that you can't see until it's too late. Is it becoming an eyesore? Have you contacted the builder and just can't get any relief? That's very common here in Florida. So call the law offices of Christopher Palermo. They can help you. Call 813-221-5636. That's 813-221-5636. He's recovered millions for his clients. The law offices of Christopher Palermo at PalermoPA.com.
Pure Sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the Bay Area Modern Medical Center here in our second hour, and also brought to you by the great folks at the Gold and Diamond Source. The Gold and Diamond Source is your source for Mother's Day gifting. It's coming up on Sunday, guys. If you have not made your purchase over at the Golden Diamond Source. What are you waiting for? They are a great local company here that does so many great things in our community. Very philanthropic. Julie and Steve Weintraub over there at all the lovely charity galas that we get to go to, always giving away great pieces of jewelry, never expecting anything in return. That's what they do. But that's why we ask you to keep it all local, folks. You got to shop for mom, right? Or your wife, if she's a mother, don't forget, got to get there something for her too. Make it a big Mother's Day. Go to the Golden Diamond Source. They have a tremendous selection, great sales going on right now. You'll get a great deal on some diamond earrings, a diamond pendant, whatever you're looking for. They have something in every budget. They have financing, 0% financing for 5 years. If you're looking to pop the question, might not be a bad idea. You can do that as well and get a great selection there. You don't have to wait till something comes in the mail or get it delivered. And if you're shopping for a diamond online, what are you doing? What are you doing? That's absolutely nuts. Go with a proven jeweler. That's the Golden Diamond Source. They've been there for decades. They're not going anywhere. And your diamond always has its value. You can bring it back for 100% of what you paid and upgrade. It's the Golden Diamond Source, and it's Mother's Day. So get in there. Just about a 15, 20-minute ride from South Tampa if you're coming over there, and get something nice for mom or your wife. It's the Golden Diamond Source. All right, Nick Geddes back with us. We had a little computer outage there. I don't know what's going on. We got. I think it's sunspots or something. Somebody told me there's some type of solar energy thing going on, and everybody's electronics are going crazy. So mine is just part of it.
Yeah.
Speaking of, I don't know how much I'm watching so much hockey, but I can't take my eyes off some of the NBA last night. Did you watch any of the Suns game? And I know I said the other day that I didn't think that Chris Paul was a top 5 point guard in the history of the game. I still won't go there with you, but damn, what he did, he could not freaking miss. He got any shot anytime he wanted it, floaters, step back threes, just get to your spot, fall away jumper. I mean, he was freaking phenomenal last night. I don't think there's anybody. I love my Warriors look good too, but man, if Devin Booker stays healthy, that's going to be one hell of a matchup, because I see we're heading towards Suns and Warriors. What do you think?
Oh, we're definitely heading towards Suns and Warriors. I tell you right now, Dallas is dead. Dallas is dead in this series. Yeah. They're not winning a single game. I look at the lineup they sported out there last night. Outside of Luka Doncic, I mean, Dorian Finney-Smith, Reggie Bullock, Dwight Powell.
Bullock. It's Bullock now.
Bullock? Yeah. We're going Bullock now?
Yeah. He wants to be called Bullock. Okay.
Whatever.
So,
but I mean, listen, I know Kristaps Porzingis was not the best partner for Luka Doncic. Yeah. I think we knew that. And they got something of value back in Spencer Dinwiddie, and it's amazing that the Mavericks, they ended up being the 5 seed this year, because outside of Luka Doncic, I just don't. Who else is going to score? Who else is going to score? You can't expect them to score 35 to 50 every single night and somehow beat a well-oiled machine like Phoenix is. It's just not going to happen. They're dead in the water.
They don't have the fire. They don't have the firepower, but it's great watching Luka play, man. That dude, he hit one from like 30 last night. Just with ease. His step back game is just insane. He's such a good player. He plays at such a slower tempo, though. You know, it's it's a different kind of game. It's kind of a Larry Bird type of game. But man, it's fun to watch. The dude is great, but he just doesn't have enough with what Phoenix has. Although, I mean, the Grizz, I shouldn't count the Grizz out. I mean, John Morant, what he did the other night was absolutely unbelievable, and he's fun to watch. I mean, he is worth the price of admission. But they were talking about this earlier on Get Up. Is his game going to translate 10, 15 years ago, maybe 20 years ago, where you went into the paint, you were not getting a free shot. And it seems like he goes into the paint and nobody makes him pay at all. And I kind of like that. To me, that's basketball. I didn't necessarily like the old days when, it was, the Knicks and the bad boys. To me, that's not entertaining basketball. That's just, that's just beating people up. That to me, and I know, people, old school people go, oh, that's, back in the day, there were no layups in the playoffs. Well, honestly, I like this game better. If I want, violence and hitting, I'll go to the NFL. Oh wait, they don't have that anymore either. Anyway, but this to me is more like I hated it when the bad boys just started beating up the Lakers in Showtime and just start knocking people out. That's not basketball to me. So, I like that Ja Morant is able to play ball and not to get destroyed.
I couldn't disagree anymore. I can't even believe this is coming from you of all.
Are you going to go old?
Oh, I'm an old school truther, as you know, more often than not. And I'm an old school truther when it comes to NBA basketball. Okay. They make documentaries. There's like a million documentaries about the 80s and 90s for a reason, because it was the most flourishing time of basketball ever, because it was an entertaining brand. I don't enjoy it. But I mean, yeah, I think there is something to the Ja Morant style. Will it last? Because even though you can't do what you could do to guys anymore, he does kind of have like a Derrick Rose feel to him, who flamed out earlier than expected. Then again, ACL injuries are so hard. You never know. You never know with anybody, really. But I do see like the people that make that argument. I think Colin Cowherd's on that train right now, that he thinks Ja Morant's just another Russell Westbrook, another Derrick Rose. He's not going to win anything. It's not sustainable. But you have to give him his props right now, because look at that Grizzlies roster. I know they got they have some other players there, but let's not act like it's the most star-studded roster in the league. And in the West, they finished with the 2nd seed, and they're going toe-to-toe with Golden State right now. Toe-to-toe with Golden State, well ahead of their schedule. And you got to give Ja Morant credit for that. And that stat you brought up yesterday, one of 3 players, along with LeBron James and Kobe Bryant, to score 45 points or more in a playoff game younger than, 22 years old, I think it was, or 23?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't hurt to be in the same category as those 2 guys.
No, he's legit. He's legit. I think he's a little bit more than Derrick Rose, and certainly more than Russell Westbrook. I see a much better team feel to what he does. I think he gets other guys involved more. I don't see that comparison at all with Ja. And I think, and by the way, I think he's more explosive than either of those guys. So, and that's saying something. This guy's off the charts, and I think he's got a better leadership mentality, certainly, than Russell Westbrook. I may be wrong, but I see a little bit different in him than a Derrick Rose, Russell Westbrook comparison. You believe that? Are you in Colin Cowherd's camp on that one?
That he has more of a leadership quality?
No, that he doesn't. That he's more. You think he's more Russell Westbrook and Derrick Rose, or more? I don't know who would I comp him to. I don't want to say LeBron, but he's going to be that type of team leader where he's ball dominant, and he's going to be the guy that they go to in the clutch each and every time. Maybe more of an Isaiah Thomas. That might be a better comp.
Yeah, I think his play style reminds me of a young Derrick Rose, reminds me of a young Russell Westbrook before Russell Westbrook became Mr. Triple-Double. And that's kind of what his game morphed to. I think he reminds me of that from a leadership standpoint. To me, he's everything you want. He's everything you want. And the proof is in the pudding, because like I just said, he took a team that I don't think is the most talented team by any means in the NBA. They play well together. They have the right pieces in play, but it's not the most talented roster in the world. And you're going head to head with Golden State right now. So I think already he's proven that he's the kind of leader they need. And when he's in the headlines, it's always about his play, and it's about nothing else. And he just seems like he wants to just ball. And I think those are the best leaders, to be honest, in the NBA, are the ones who want to just go out there and ball. And you don't hear, it's not about what their pregame outfit is or anything like that, because that brings me to the other game that happened last night, which was Philadelphia and Miami. And I tell you what, Miami got to play a team like Atlanta that shouldn't even been in the playoffs, because we have a gimmick play-in tournament. They get a gimmick play-in tournament, and now they get no Embiid and Harden, who has lost a few steps and can't get by anybody anymore and can't make a shot. I love Miami, but my goodness, what a draw they have gotten already.
Oh my God, they have, and I think they're going to be surprised to see what happens in the next round. Now, maybe surprise is not the right term, but the Celtics and the Bucks are just, I mean, that is a war. And Giannis has been awful. They're 1-1 in that series, but Giannis, they've got his number. He's going to have to find another way to score, or he's been bad from the free throw line. He's been bad from, I think he's 3 for 17 from 3. He's not getting his shots.
He's 5 of 30 from within 8 feet. 5 of 30. I mean, Boston, if there's such thing as stopping Giannis, they've done it. They've done it.
Well, that is something that has really surprised me, no doubt about it. But I think I have no idea who's going to win that series. Who you got in Celtics Bucks at this point? I mean, I almost have to lean towards the Celtics because they've been, and because there's no Chris Middleton, there's nowhere for the Bucks to go to get that scoring consistently.
I still am going to favor Milwaukee. I still am. That series is going to flip back to Milwaukee now because the first 2 games were in Boston. So I think that they are going to grab the 2 games here in Milwaukee, and then they can squeak one out in Boston in the final 2 or 3. I think that's what's going to happen because I think Giannis, I said it the other day, I think he's the new LeBron in the sense of this is the consensus best player in basketball for the next 10 years. And to me, we don't really have much of an argument. I think he's about to become into that guy. And I think at this point, Giannis, the whole knock on him until last year was his game doesn't translate to the playoffs. I was saying that forever. He can't shoot. Right. He seems to get neutralized, and the Bucks are a second round exit kind of team. He got over that hump last year. He got over that hump and changed my mind, the minds of many. And I think even without Middleton out there, he will find a way because the great ones always find a way to get it done. And Milwaukee is still well coached and still has a lot of good role players. So right now, if you had to ask me, I think Miami clearly is not going to have any problem with Philadelphia. I think Milwaukee and Boston is a dogfight, but I'm going to lean Milwaukee. And that would bring us to Milwaukee, Miami, and Golden State, I would say, and Phoenix, which to me, as if you're a basketball fan, pretty damn good. Pretty damn good.
Yeah. Yeah. I as much as I love my hockey playoffs, I'm very intrigued about these NBA playoffs. Lots of good storylines, and none of them involve LeBron.
Did you see Kendrick Perkins? Did you see Kendrick Perkins yesterday? That he was asked a question about LeBron and the Lakers on First Take, and he literally said, "Don't ask me about LeBron." He's like, "I'm not talking about team that's 17 games under 500. Can we please talk about something else going on in the NBA, please?"
Yeah, I mean that's today. I think it was on Get Up. It was like, should the Lakers trade LeBron? You're in the middle of the effing playoffs. You've got some great playoff series going. You can talk about basketball, and you want to go talk about whether the Lakers should trade LeBron? Like, who effing cares right now? You got, 5 months of the offseason to bat that stupid crap around, and you're in the middle of the freaking – this is what I talk about the NBA all the time, is they never stay in the moment. It's always about where's this guy going? Where's that guy going? Who's the next guy to trade up with this superstar to link up with? Like, dude, we got some good series going on here. Who effing cares about LeBron right now?
Let me give you a full rundown of ESPN this morning. Right here in the background, I have it on. I don't know if you have it on too. I see Ben Simmons' face right now. I see Ben Simmons' face. I see a Nets logo. I don't care. Yeah. This morning,
we're talking about Ben Simmons getting surgery and LeBron being traded from the Lakers.
And this morning, JP, this morning, I swear to you, I'd get up on. They led with, where is Baker Mayfield going?
What? Who cares? Who effing cares? What producers are making these? That I swear to God, that network is so lost. It is so freaking lost. And I can't believe I think they've lost so much market share. It's unbelievable. ESPN radio is like, nobody listens to that. I mean, it's dead in the water. And these other shows, like they must have some type of, quality or not quality research, or some research department that says, every time we talk about Baker Mayfield, the ratings spike, and they're constantly talking about the same shit as all the free. They're even the people that come on their shows are tired of talking about it. It's like, what more do you want me to say? Like in the breaks, they must be like, dude, are we really talking about this again? Are we really going to talk about nothing's changed on Baker? Like nothing's changed for Baker Mayfield. They've been talking about it for a month and a half and nothing's changed. What more can you bring to the story?
It's kind of like when they were recapping the NBA playoffs, they had a star-studded lineup and everything talking about it. It's never like I don't think the Suns actually came up in the conversation. It was all about Luka and what the Mavericks didn't have. When they shifted over to Miami and Philadelphia, it was all about should James Harden get a supermax during the offseason. It morphs into that, and it's nothing about the teams who won the game, right? The teams that are probably you're gonna see in the finals, those teams were not talked about, right? It turned into James Harden and it turned into Luka Doncic having no help. That's what it turns into. And I hate it because in the Lightning game last night got in a get up. But you want to know how long the recap was?
How long?
20 seconds.
That's
20
it.
Seconds. A little
That's
run
it.
from Greeny, and then they went straight to break.
Yeah, they gave the Lightning, I think, about 20 seconds of highlights last night, 20 to 30 seconds of highlights, because we got to spend 7 minutes on Baker Mayfield.
Oh my goodness, yeah, and that was going to take my point. By the way, the reason why we're watching more NBA playoffs than NHL, you know why I am? Because right now the NHL playoffs are exclusively on ESPN, and I know that you don't worry about announcing much, but when announcing's not good, it takes me out of it. It just does. And every time I turn on these NHL games, I don't know who these guys are. I've never heard these voices. They don't fit hockey to me because they're probably not hockey announcers. I wish Doc Emmerich could come right back out of retirement or see what Gary Thorne's doing or somebody, because it's taken me out of it. That's why I can't watch the other NHL games mostly.
Yeah, and I know Bally's just doing the first round. I don't know what's going to happen after the second round. And ESPN is also – weren't they? Didn't they had the Lightning game last night? That was a different crew too, right? I didn't switch over there, but I'm guessing they had a different crew doing the game.
Yeah, it was John Butchergross was the play-by-play man who was actually a big hockey guy.
I love Bucci.
Love Bucci, but just the whole presentation of it, it doesn't feel big when it's on ESPN for whatever reason. Maybe it's because they've totally just excluded hockey from their coverage for the last 15 years that I'm still having trouble connecting with it. So I can't wait till it shifts over to TNT.
It's almost like they, I saw Get Up bring Gary Bettman on earlier this week, and it's almost like this, they have to be just drag kicking and screaming in there, and Bettman doesn't look like he's having a good time over there at all. It's just something smells about this deal with ESPN. Like I don't think the NHL is very happy with the way it's turned out this year. Would you agree with that?
There's no way they can. There's no way they can. When you have a game of Sidney Crosby and Alex Ovechkin, and that is shoved to ESPN Plus, I'm sorry.
That makes no sense.
That's the equivalent to having LeBron versus Kevin Durant, and you think ESPN's ever plugging that on ESPN Plus? And I know the NBA rating is going to be higher than the NHL. I get it. But if this is what I say all the time in regards to the NHL, in regards to the WNBA and all female sports mostly, if you want us to watch them, market them, and put them on where we can see it, where we don't have to go search to find it. That's my theory on that.
I don't know if we talked about this yesterday, but the Bucks announced, we didn't talk a lot about it. They're going to play the Seahawks in Munich on November 13th. I know a lot of Bucks fans are hyped about that and getting to go to Germany. I would love to go. I mean, we're going to see what goes on in the international situation, though. That war's still going on. I'm not going to Germany in that situation. No, thank you. But I'm just glad that was the game, because I don't think a lot of Bucks fans cared whether they saw the Seattle game without Russell Wilson here as a home game. That was probably the least attractive home game, so that was good. It worked out that way.
Did anybody really think the NFL was going to put two of their best teams and their two best, most marketable players in a game in Munich at 9:30? Did anybody really think that was going to happen?
That would be silly. I mean, some people thought that, they maybe throw Germany a bone because of that, but they never do that. They always put the worst games over there because those people show up anyway. They have no idea who they're watching. So why send two superstars over there? It doesn't make any sense. You know?
They announced the whole schedule, and I think they have Minnesota and New Orleans playing each other. And I have to go back and look, but just based on paper, that might be the best game that they've probably ever sent over there. Is Minnesota and New Orleans this year? That might be.
Yeah. I would love to go to that game in Germany. That would be really, really fun. At that stadium, was it Allianz Stadium, where Bayern Munich plays. It looks tremendous. And Germany is if you've never been to Germany, one of the most incredible, if you're a fan of architecture, old castles, museums, beer and cheese, like I am, like all those things are like right on my top 10. Germany's a great place for you. Great place. Looking forward. So hopefully we can take the show over there. That would be fun. We spend a week at the Hofbrauhaus, broadcasting live from the Hofbrauhaus. Those second hours could get really, really good. No doubt about that. And speaking of marketing, I guess somebody put something on Twitter the other day and tagged me in it about, the Rays are marketing in Tampa. Did you see that? It was like they had their name on the border of a scoreboard. There was a billboard, which I still haven't seen. I don't know how much frequency they're putting on their billboards, but I really haven't seen a lot of Rays billboards. It was just, it's like minimal marketing at best, but still no family plans, no, 4 hot dogs, 4 drinks, 4 chips, 4 tickets for $70 like everybody else is doing in Major League Baseball. No $5 tickets, no $10 tickets. I don't see any of that, or certainly it being marketed out there at all. Have you seen anything like that? And people are like, the Rays are turning the corner in their marketing. I'm like, no, they're not. Not doing any of that. Not doing the important stuff.
That sign, I know exactly where it is. It's over there by the Hard Rock. They put like the Buck. They have like a Bucks one and a Lightning one right next to it. Right. It's been there for those. It's always there. So it wasn't anything. It wasn't anything new to me, but I haven't seen it.
I think it's something that the Hard Rock did, not the Rays.
Yeah, I'm not sure on that one, but I haven't seen any other promotion. But I will give them credit. We asked for Brett Phillips, and we have received Brett Phillips. They have the nice commercial with Chloe.
Yes, they did.
Fittingly, after he hit his home run the other day, the next batter got out and it straight went to commercial, and I think it was like Safe Flight Auto Glass or whatever, one of those, and Brett Phillips was there doing a little run. So nicely timed. So Brett Phillips, he's becoming a little bit of a star now. I give him credit for that.
Yeah, well, he should. I mean, baseball is fun. He's the best entertainment in baseball. So just love that dude. And the day that he gets released or traded, it's going to be a tough day for a lot of Rays fans. But of course, that'll never happen, right? That'll never happen. He'll never make that much money. He'll always be a cheap option to keep around. So probably best. All right, so we got the Rays and Seattle tonight, right? What time is that first pitch tonight? Probably another late night with the Rays. 9:40. Okay, I'm down with that. Yeah, 9:40 tonight. Rays are -130 to beat the 12-13 Mariners, and then tomorrow night 7:30 puck drop, Maple Leafs and the Lightning. All right, any other great stories you needed to bring to the show today, partner? Before we close,
I don't believe so. I think we've all out of time anyway, but I think we've brought everything that we needed to. Great win for the Lightning, great win for the Rays. You take that any day of the week. The Bucks now, the off season pretty much over. Before you know it, it'll be training camp. I think we got
rookie minicamp starting up next week. Yep. So we'll see some of the rooks get in here. That'll be good. All right. Thanks to Nick Geddes. Thanks to our good friend Scott Reynolds for joining us here today. If you missed any of that great interview, Bobby the Chief Taylor joined us as well. Check it out on our YouTube page. Subscribe. Also on Apple and Spotify and FanStreamSports.com. Have a great day, everybody.